Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the short answer question in the animal diversity 1, invertebrate phyla. Okay, so the first question will be salient features exhibited by the polychaetes. Okay, but before that you should know that this polychaetes is coming under the phylum. So it is a class coming under the phylum Annelids. Okay, so Annelids is commonly called as the segmented worm. Okay, so this polychaetes which is coming under the, this is a class which is coming under the phylum Annelids. Okay, poly means many, chaetae, polychaetae, which means setae. Okay, so the meaning of chaetae will be the setae. So we're going to discuss what is the meaning of the setae. Okay, so this includes the marine annelids, which is called as a bristle worms. So all the worms which is placed under the class Polychaeta, we are calling them as a bristle worms. Okay, so the habitat and the movement. Okay, some are free moving, which means it is not which is not sedentary. It has a capacity to to move freely. Okay. Other than the burrowing or the tube dwelling tubicolous. Okay, so the others are the burrowing and tube dwelling. So you should know that some worms which is placed in the polychaetes, they can move freely, and some others can also burrowing. Okay, tube dwelling worms is also can be seen here. So here the head is distinct, bearing sense organs such as eyes, tentacles and the palps. Okay, so these are these are other characteristic features of these worms which is placed under the class polychaetes. Okay, here the head is distinct and it bears a sense organs. What are all the sense organs? Eyes, tentacles, palps. Okay, so locomotion and the respiration. So here it possesses the parapodia and many setae which aids. See, what is the function of this parapodia? With many setae, they are the one involving in the movement as well as the respiration process. Okay, clitellum. So here the clitellum is absent, which is involving in the reproduction function. Okay, so what are all the reproductive traits of this polychaetes? Okay, so it is dioecious in nature. Dioecious in the sense unisexual, which means male is a different individual, female is the different individual. So what is in case of monoecious? Consider this as an organism, both the individual, that is male and female reproductive organ present in the same individual. So that is what a monoecious, and this is a dioecious in nature, which means unisexual. Here the gonadocs are absent here. Okay, the gonadocs are absent here. The gametes shed into the coelom, exit and via the nephridiophores. How the gamete is entering into where the gamete is reaching means it is going to shed to the body cavity, that is the coelom, and how it is getting exit from the coelom, that the structure is called as a nephridiophores. Okay, now what is the fertilization and development? Fertilization is external here. See, there is an internal fertilization and external fertilization. Okay, so the internal fertilization means, first fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. So this fusion of male and female gametes, if it is present inside the body, it is called as an internal. If it is present outside the body, it is called as an external fertilization. Now there is an direct development and indirect development. Okay, so direct development in the sense, so if there will be no involvement of larval stage, so this is a young one, so young one straight away gives rise to an adult. So this is what a direct development. So if the young ones undergo some larval stages, first larval stage, second larval stage, after that it gives rise to an adult. So if there will be an involvement of this larval stage in their life cycle, we are saying that as an indirect development. So in that sense, here there is an involvement of larva, so we can say that as an indirect development. So and that larval stage is called as a trochophore larva. Okay, now what are all the examples of this particular class polychaetes present under the phylum Annelids? Okay, so the Nereis, which is considered as a sandworm, ragworm, clamworm, these are all the common name of this Nereis. Aphrodite, that is sea mouse, Arnicola, that is a lugworm. So these are all the examples for this polychaetes. Okay, so now the second question will be the chief characteristics of the crustaceans. Chief characters of the crustaceans. See, the crustaceans, they are nothing but, this is under the class, this is again the class. Crustaceans are the class which is placed under the phylum Arthropoda. Okay, so the word arthro in the sense jointed. Okay, poda means appendages, jointed appendages. Okay, so consider this as an animal. So this is one appendage, here is it is also one appendage. Okay, it is very jointed in both the sides. So this is called as a jointed appendages. Okay, so what will be the general characteristic features? Habitat, where they are going to live. They are primarily aquatic. So the best example will be the prawn, which is placed under the class Crustacea. Now the body structure will be head and the thorax. The head region, thoracic region. The head and the thorax fuse together to form a structure which is called as a cephalothorax. And this region is covered by a chitinous carapace, which means chitinous exoskeleton. Okay, which means that is a protein chitin. Now, in some species, that is crabs and in lobsters, the exoskeleton is very hardened. The exoskeleton is hardened with the calcium carbonate. Okay, so exoskeleton is hardened with a calcium carbonate. Now there is cephalic appendages, two pairs of antennae, and that pairs is called as an antennules and antennae. One pair of mandibles will be there and two pairs of maxillae will be there. So these are all the mouth parts. Maxillae and mandibles were the mouth parts. Okay, so appendages. So appendages means thoracic and abdominal appendages. Biramus in the sense, as I mentioned, this is called as a biramus, which is branched. Okay, so this is the thoracic appendage. Head region will be the thoracic appendage and abdominal appendages. The appendages present in the thoracic region is called as a thoracic appendage, and if it is present in the abdomen, it is called as a abdominal appendage. All these are biramus in nature, which means in the both sides. Now respiration, the respiratory organs here will be the gills. Okay, so the gill structure is called as a branchiae. Now the excretion, the excretory organ here, in case of arthropods, more specifically the class crustacean under the phylum Arthropods, their excretory organs is called as the green glands and the antennary glands. Okay. Sense organs, it includes the antennae, compound eyes and statocysts. Statocysts is considered as a balancing organ. Compound eyes, this is to see the unit of compound eyes. Ommatidium, see nephron, it is a functional unit of kidney. Neuron, it is a functional unit of brain cells. So that is what the this ommatidium is a structural and functional unit of this compound eyes. That includes the antennae. So this antennae, compound eyes and the statocysts together we are calling them as the sense organs. Now development, as I said before, there is a direct development and indirect development. So this indirect development means what, there is an involvement of larval stages. Okay, so that involves the different larval forms, Nauplius larva, Zoe larva. So all these were the larval stages of the crustaceans. Okay, as the larval stages are involved, we are calling them as an indirect development. So the example, Palaemon, that is freshwater prawn. Cancer, that is nothing but a crab. Balanus, that is rock barnacle. Saculina, root-headed barnacle. Astacus, crayfish. Daphnia, water flea. So all these were the examples for the crustaceans, right? The third question will be the general characteristics of Arachnida. Again, it is a class under the phylum Arthropods. Okay, so basically there is a kingdom, phylum and a class and order, family and genus and species. Okay, so this is the class. So the crustacean is a class coming under the phylum Arthropods, and the Arachnida is a class coming under the phylum Arthropods, and the class Insecta is coming under the phylum Arthropods. Okay, so here this Arachnida, one of the class under the phylum Arthropods. This is primarily terrestrial animals, which means land living animals. And here what are all the body appendages? Prosoma. The prosoma is nothing but a cephalothorax. Cephalo means head region. If the head region is fused with the thoracic region, we are calling them as a cephalothorax. We are calling them as the prosoma. So here it has the 1 pairs of chelicerae, 1 pairs of pedipalpi and 4 pairs of walking legs. So these are all the appendages. Now what are all the respiratory structures? Mesosomal appendages are modified into the book lungs. Okay, so the mesosomal appendages, which is nothing but a respiratory organ. See, spiracles, book lungs, spiracles, and gills or tracheae, all these were the respiratory structures under the phylum Arthropods. Okay, so here the respiratory structures were the book lungs, that is considered as, here book lungs are getting modified from the primitive structure which is called as a mesosomal appendages. Now the respiratory organs, again the book lungs, tracheae, both the book lungs and tracheae, which is present in some species. Okay, so in case of scorpions and some spiders, there the respiratory organ will be the book lungs. In some spiders, the respiratory structure will be the tracheae. In some of the organisms, both the book lungs and the tracheae will be present. Okay, so now what will be the respiratory pigment? So in case of hemoglobin, that is the respiratory pigment in case of human beings. Okay, so here there it will be iron based hemoglobin, but here it will be a hemocyanin. Here it is copper based. Central metal atom will be the copper. And the excretory organ will be the Malpighian tubules and the coxal glands. Okay, so these are all the excretory organs. The development here will be the direct development, no larval stage. So as I mentioned before, if there will be no larval stage, we are saying that as a direct development. And the scorpions or viviparous give birth to young. Okay, so viviparous, which means it is not an egg laying. Directly it gives rise to one young ones. It lays the young ones. That's what a viviparous. And some of the other examples for this arachnids will be the Platyhelminthes, that is nothing but a scorpion, and Araenia, that is a spider, Scorcopes, that is Ichmite. So these are all the things which is coming under the class arachnids. Now, what will be the difference between the centipede and the millipede? Okay, so centipede, it is technically, scientific name is called as a Coelopoda, and it is coming under the Diplopoda. The millipede is coming under the Diplopods, and you should know both are coming under the phylum Arthropods. Okay, both are coming under the phylum Arthropoda or Arthropods. Here the centipede, the common name will be the 100-leggers, and the millipede Diplopoda is called as the 1000-leggers. And what will be the habitat of centipede? It will be terrestrial. Both are terrestrial. Both are air breathing, and here it is also air breathing, but it is considered as a carnivorous, but here it is feeding on the decaying plant material. Okay, feeds on the decaying plant material. We can say that as a decomposers or the detrivorous. Okay, so the body structure, here the body consists of the head and the trunk. Here the body consists of the head and the trunk. Okay, both of the organisms body structure will be similar. Now the trunk appendages, each trunk segments bear one pairs of clawed legs, and here it bears the two pairs of legs. That is why Diplopoda, di means two. Okay, so as it has the it bears two pairs of legs in each segment, that is placed under the Diplopods. Now, so special appendages, what are all the special appendages? Here there will be a poison claws will be there. Okay, so first pair of trunk leg. So here the first pair of trunk leg, this is the one modified into the poison claw. So this is the specialized appendages present in the centipede. Okay, here the head bears the antennae, mandibles and maxillae. So here the maxillae is modified into the gnathochilarium. So this is the special features present in case of millipede. Now the respiratory structure, both the organisms' respiratory structure will be the tracheae. Now excretory organs, here the Malpighian tubules will be the excretory organ for both centipede as well as the millipede. Okay, Scolopendra, Scutigera will be the other examples, other species for under the centipede, and Spirostreptus and Gymnus, these are all the examples under the millipedes. Okay, so this is what a comparison between the centipede as well as the millipede. Okay, now what are all the salient features of the echinoids? Okay, salient features of the echinoids. So this is Echinoidea. You should know this is coming under the phylum Echinodermata. Okay, so this is coming under the phylum Echinodermata. So Echinodermata, which means you should know that they're spiny bodied animals. So the common name for this Echinodermata will be the spine bodied animals, which means all the animals which is placed in the Echinodermata, they bear spines in their body. So they are also having many class, and one of the class will be the Echinoidea. Okay, so the examples will be sea urchin, heart urchin, sand dollars, and sea biscuit. So these are all the organisms. These are all the name of the organisms and the class Echinoidea. So their body structure will be ovoid and ovoid or the discoid. It is covered with the movable spines. So as I mentioned before, so these animals are technically commonly called as the common bodied animals. So spiny bodied animals. So that spine is movable. So that is why it is covered with a movable spine. So here the arms are absent here. Arms in the sense, see, this is what a starfish. Again the starfish is coming under the phylum Echinodermata, and this is called as the arms. But here there will be no arms present in case of class Echinoidea. Okay, so tube feet. So you should know that the specialized feature which is present only in the Echinodermata, not in any other phylum, is called as a water vascular system. So that system has one of the important structure called as a tube feet. Here it bears the suckers. The tube feet will be present here, and in the tube feet they are having a suckers just for an attachment. Okay, so the skeleton. So skeleton, it is made up of calcium, so that is what it is technically called as a calcareous ossicles. Many calcareous ossicles unite together to form a rigid test. Okay, so that is called, also called as a corona or the case. So this is an important structure named as a skeleton. Okay, so the what are all the anatomical features? That is madrephorid, which is nothing but a water vascular system. So in the water vascular system we have studied about the tube feet. Another important structure will be the madrephorid and anus, which are located on the arboreal side. Okay, ambulacral groove. So this water vascular system is also called as the ambulacral system. Here these grooves are closed, and pedicellariae are three-jawed pedicellariae will be there, and these are all the parts of this water vascular system. Now what are all the feeding apparatus? The most important thing, that is the Aristotle's lantern. Okay, so the Aristotle lanterns will be the feeding apparatus. So it is a complex five-jawed masticatory structure, which means you should know this is the one involving in the digestion process. That is present in the mouth of the sea urchins, that is absent in the heart urchins. So you should know Aristotle lantern is one of the characters which is present in the Echinodermata, but it not in all the organisms under the phylum Echinodermata. Okay, so development, planktonic larval stage, which is called as a Echinopleurus larva. So there is this larval stage is called as a planktonic larval stage. Okay, so that larval stage is called as a Echinopleurus larva. So the larval stage for the class Echinoids is called as a Echinopleurus larva, and you should know that this development is an indirect development. Okay, so what are all the examples for this echinoids? Echinus, that is sea urchin; echinocardium, that is heart urchin; echinodiscus, sand dollar. So these are all the scientific name as well as the common name. So this is the very important thing. Okay, so now the next question will be the functions of the Nephridia. Okay, so the functions of the Nephridia. So the Nephridia is the excretory structure which is placed under the phylum Annelids. Okay, functions of Nephridia. So this is the excretory organ which is present under the phylum Annelida. Okay, they are segmentally arranged excretory tubules found in the annelids like the earthworm, which means what? Segmentally arranged. So Annelida is known for its metameric segmentation. So each segment is having their excretory structure, that is a nephridium. So it is found in the annelids, that is called, example is earthworm. Earthworm, it is placed under the annelida. Okay, so what is there, what is in case of nephridia with respect to this excretory role? So they helps in the elimination of nitrogenous waste, primarily the urea. So you should know that earthworms are ureotelic in nature. Okay, as like in humans, earthworms are also ureotelic in nature, as they are wasting urea as their nitrogenous waste. Okay, so that function is done by this nephridia. Now what will be their types and their functions? Okay, we are having two different types of nephridia, that is enteronephric and exonephric. So in the enteronephric, they plays a role in the osmoregulation, water conservation and homeostasis. Osmoregulation is nothing but a water balance. Water conservation means the organism has to be in cautious while eliminating the water. So whatever the water they can reabsorb, that has to be reabsorbed. So this is what water conservation. Homeostasis means they are maintaining their body temperature, okay, maintaining the body rhythm. So all these were the functions done by this enteronephric nephridium. So they discharge their waste into the intestine. So that is why the name entero. The word entero always refers to the term intestine. Okay. So as they are discharging the waste into the intestine, we are calling this particular nephridial type is called as an enteronephric nephridia. So the next nephridium will be the exonephric nephridia. So they are collecting the nitrogenous waste and expel them out from the out of the body through the structure which is called as a nephridiopores. So this nephridiophore is very important. Through this structure, the collected waste has been eliminated out from the body. So these are all the types of nephridia and their functions. How the nephridia will look like? The nephridia are ciliated coelomic ducts. Again, it is related to the body cavity. Okay, there will be lot of small ducts, the ducts present in the cavity. That is what we are calling them as a coelomic ducts. And if this duct is with the cilia, we are calling them as a ciliated coelomic ducts. So they are facilitating the movement of the waste materials. Okay, so they are facilitating the movement of this waste materials. Okay, so these are all the important questions in the invertebrates. So this is what in the first part of the animal diversity. So we have discussed 6 important questions, that is salient features of the polychaetes. So in the polychaetes you are going to where they are living and what will be their structure and what will be the unique characteristic features acquired by this polychaetes and what are all the important structures and their functions, their reproduction, their fertilization and their development, and with examples. Okay, so we have discussed the polychaetes and we have discussed the unique characteristic features of this crustaceans and their examples, and arachnids, that is again it is a class under the phylum Arthropods, and the arachnids, that is centipede and millipede, both were they are also coming under the phylum Arthropods, and echinoids. So echinoids will be the class which is coming under the phylum Echinodermata, and we have discussed about that. And this nephridium is the excretory structure present under coming under the phylum Annelids. So these are all the important characteristic features. Okay, we'll wind up the session. So in the next class we are going to discuss a short answer question of the some other chapter. Okay, thank you so much.